everybody, welcome back for another episode of TFT Study Hall with your hosts. My name is Frodan.
And I'm Dishsoap.
And we are back, and we're going to revamp a little bit of the format for the show. We're going to try to make things quicker, but do them more frequently, so that way it feels like we're getting regular check-ins. So this episode will be about half as long as usual, but the good news is we're going to be doing it more often. So I want to catch up with Dishsoap. Dishsoap, you just hit 1,000 LP. You're rank 1 on North America. You're almost rank 1 global. How's this been so far for you?
I mean, honestly, my stance, like, on the, like, just set and enjoyment wise is still the same. It's not my favorite set of all time, but I mean, it doesn't mean you still can't climb, you know. But yeah, ever since they like giga nerfed the strategy amp comp, I've been finding ways to like win with a variety of different things, and I think yeah, I mean, I think I've been popping off since the B patch, basically.
Give me a general beat on the metagame. What is 3 adjectives you would use to describe the current metagame?
Okay, that might be too hard for me.
Okay, give me 2. Give me 2.
Adjectives.
One adjective?
I mean, I don't know. I just haven't really been I haven't thought about describing a meta like this. Okay, I'm not very good at this. Okay, I mean, okay, basically,
I can describe one previously. One adjective would be like greedy, right? Greedy was like what would describe the A patch because everyone was capping really high and trying to play open forward. So what would be something that you would, what's a word that would describe this current meta?
I guess more aggressive. We're definitely seeing a resurgence of a lot of reroll comps and a lot of just really, really strong mid-game comps. You look at like the Cypher, and especially like the Executioner can do some nasty things in the mid-game. So you're seeing a lot more pressure. Not necessarily like that much pressure like stage 2 and like maybe early stage 3, but like late stage 3, if people have enough gold to do like a 3-5 level 7 roll down, or especially 4-1, it like ramps up super, super high. And if you're not keeping up with that, you're gonna fall behind for sure.
Let's talk about the best comps currently. We got Cypher, Cashout. This is oriented around Draven. This is actually kind of another way we can just say Draven reroll. It seems like that's going to be a big part of the meta. It's interesting that you roll on 8 here, and that's actually going to be the composition that we'll talk later today as our featured comp. That's going to be a segment later. We got Nitro Zeri, and we actually have 2 Nitro variations. We got Nitro Zeri, Nitro Dynamo, basically Tempo Nitro variants, and then we have Executioners. Out of all of them, which one is your favorite and the one that you've played the most?
I've been playing for sure the most Nitro. Not necessarily like Zeri every game. I think the comp really, really shines when you get to play around like a Viego and Aurora, basically in every variation. Because if it's in the Zeri version, if it's in all of them, once you get to the Aurora and Viego, they both come with basically their own summons, and like Nitro as a summon, because you're kind of playing with like, if you're level 9, you're playing with like 12 units, and you're kind of just like whittling them down with like team effort kind of thing. I've always found that pretty cool, and it's like super strong. The Nitro is just ridiculous right now because you don't actually need to reroll them at all to get a good value in the late game, and you don't even need the T-Hex. Even just like a 150 charge Scuttle Crab is going to be like basically a 2-star 4-cost tank that you get kind of for free. The Nitro units are super, super good trait bots, and they're really, really cheap, so you can go 9. Yeah.
What's the latest do you feel like you can start stacking Nitro? I've seen people try to do this almost to the extreme. They play like a 50 stack robot by like stage 5, and because they've had like 1 stars the entire game, and they're just like, I don't get it. My frontline full. I'm like, well, you have like a 700 HP robot. So what's like where's like the line you toe between like you can play tempo with it?
I think the absolute end of the line is like 3-1, and like only if like Krugs drops you like Shyvana 2 plus like another upgrade or something, where you like want to do like a full pivot. But typically it's gonna be like 2-5, 2-6. If you're not hitting those Nitro units, you gotta maybe do something else. But certainly getting it on 2-1 is a huge advantage.
Got it. I see that you also posted on your tweet about a Nitro Annie variation. Can you talk a little bit more about when you can play it? I think people get really excited. I saw a bunch of people trying to force it today, and they were going 8th, man. It was just not working out great. But obviously, you understand when to do it, and it's ranked lower than the other Nitro variants. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
I mean, like Annie herself is not like she's gonna be like the item holder of the comp, but I wouldn't really say she's the star of the comp. You're mainly playing this from Elise out of Orb is the main, like out of like stage 1 Orb is the main condition for this with AP items, and then Elise is gonna be holding.
Okay.
Elise is gonna hold your anti items, and the thing is the comp was like a Giga Viego check. If you do not like Viego's good in like the other versions, but the thing is the Viego on this board gives you Ox Force, which is Ox Golden Ox.
Golden Ox.
Yeah, which is a ton of damage for your main carry, and it's like your comp doesn't really do anything without Viego. So it's like you need at least from Orb and like a strong tempo / econ opener. So it's this is the variation I played the least. I think I played like 1 or 2 games of it, and 2 games. Compared to like the other versions, I played much more.
How important are items on Viego? A lot of the variations that we're showing on TFTAcademy have no items for him, and yet you're saying that he's a big part of these late game compositions. Are we itemizing Viego 1?
Yeah, if you just have leftovers, like if you already have your 3-item tank and your like 3-item backline, and you don't have like a very clear duo carry or like something else, it's definitely worth to put items on them. Best items usually is you just throw your anti-heal on them very often. If you have like the slots. I mean, maybe we on those guide, like, I mean, anti-heal is like really good in Aurora, but for example, if you have like an extra AP item, you can like move the Morello off of Aurora and put on Viego, because Viego has huge AoE. Also, like late game on like Carousel on Anvils, you can take like stuff like Edgenite, and some healing items on her are always good. Crown Guard, just stuff like that. But honestly, you can just give him a bunch of leftover trash. He's gonna do all right. Like honestly, like Sunfire Vow, Crown Guard, like he just gets in there. Prox Techie is annoying, and he's doing his job.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's move briefly on to the best comps of the A tier. I noticed that halfway through the patch, we actually had way thicker of an A tier, and then we decided to kind of cut some units, move them down. That includes Anima Squad, Marksman, Vanguard. Where's that line draw for you specifically? Because I think for some people, you look at other tier lists, they actually have like a way fatter A tier. It's like they're putting like half of this up one.
For me personally, in like super high elo, I think TF like gets demoted. Just
me too, actually. I think this comp
yeah.
sucks.
Okay, well the thing, like the comp is still good. It performs really really well, and it's A tier just based off of its incredible data. I think the higher and higher you go, like the more people like optimize their damage. It gets a little like they can punch through your front line, and it gets a little bit more difficult to succeed with it, but it's still like fine. But yeah, I think my line is like the brand, I guess.
Where do you draw that line though, in terms of like, is it just the average placement, like the AVP in your head, or is there like a win outs potential type of thing? Like what's the difference between, because I think a lot of people interpret this as Anima Squad is bad. That's actually kind of what they're literally saying now. In fact, I saw you in chat, or saw some people in your chat being like, oh, like Anima Squad is not good. And you were like, that's just not true. So what is this line being drawn?
Okay, so like B tier for me does not mean like B. It does not stand for bad to me.
Yeah, B for bad.
It stands for like comps that like I would only play with like from like a super optimal spot, like certain augments, or just like hitting a bunch of the units natural. Like you see Fiddlesticks there. He relies a lot on emblems and artifacts to be good. Veigar is like one of the things that's augment dependent. Like both of his trade augments are incredible, but if you don't have them, it's like you're probably gonna have to be like Veigar 2 with a blue buff, or 2/1, or like Manazane from Artifact Anvil or something to justify it. So like these are just the more niche comps. If you're trying to force them from any spot, you're not gonna have a good time. But I don't know, if you play them from the correct condition, they can still easily top 4 and sometimes even win.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then A is a lot more generic. I see a lot of people pivot into Zeri. I see a lot of people pivot into Brand, right? Because they can just play from pretty open-ended items, and ultimately you just kind of need a core set of a good set of like tempo, win streak, or econ resources, and be able to get to that spot for these 4 costs.
Technically, MF, like I might be biased here because the stats on just this MF board are not like that good compared to everything else. So like objectively, this might be a B tier comp, but I'm kind of biased. I really like this MF unit. And I've personally had decent amount of success with her, but at the end of the day, she kind of just ends up being an Aurora check. Like if you do not have Aurora on this board, it's not gonna.
You don't have a duo carry, so MF shoots all her bullets, and then you're like, well, what happens next? And you're just waiting. You're waiting for MF to cast again, and then there's like Rengar and a bunch of other threats that just become really problematic. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think MF is still really far from optimized.
Mhm.
If you look at the data and depending on how you filter, there's a lot of different like ways you can interpret MF. Like, should you be playing 2, 3, 4 Dynamo, and how you filter and how you split can show cases for all of them. You know, and like obviously, is Syndicate even important, right? We showed a Nitro variation
Oh,
where
Syndicate's very good. It's
Syndicate is really
yeah,
good, but the variation that we're showing on the tier list for theoretically one of the best ways to play her has no Syndicate. So I do think that there is a lot of room on the table for people to figure out when and how to play her.
for sure.
And I do think that she pays big rewards and dividends if you understand and master her really well.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is like just her like data's like really bad, but I just personally have had enough success with her that I kind of want to put her up there. But
Yeah, and there's actually a bunch of one tricks who have climbed to Masters GM Challenger doing it as well. So I think the profile data also backs you up there.
there's one thing though with like basically every MF version, we should probably put this into the tier list somehow. Is that like Shojin, you kind of need Shojin on there if you're not playing 4 Dynamo, because otherwise you're just not going to be casting. But when you
Right.
do get up to 4 Dynamo, it's not really necessary anymore. You want to be moving it off to ideally like Aurora and then just going full damage if you have it. But I don't think it's like I feel like people would say like, oh, Shojin's not good in 4 Dynamo. Let me just not make Shojin, and let me just greet all my items and make full
Yeah.
damage. And then it's like, oh, if you don't have Aurora, you don't have like. I mean, you obviously you can fit 4 Dynamo without Aurora, but you probably don't want to because the units are just not very good. So I usually find myself just making Shojin just for like item economy reasons. And then like I'm trying to get like a different damage item like late game, like off carousel and stuff.
Yeah, it's the same concept as how Rageblade can be really powerful, and then late game, you know, stage 4 onward, you don't really want Rageblade on
Mhm.
those carries. And I think Shojin's very similar to MF in that sense. In
Yep.
the late stages of the game, you probably just want like the pure damage stuff. And that actually applies to Zaya surprisingly as well. I think a lot of people interpret Zaya as a Shojin holder. It's kind of interesting how the itemization is going to change in that sense. All right, well, that is our meta breakdown. We're going to move on to stage number 2, which is a new segment we're calling Three's a Crowd. Okay, Three's a Crowd is just to spark some conversations about what is happening around the game in the meta. And so I'm going to present 3 things to Dishsoap, and he has to choose one to buff, one to nerf, and one to keep. And you can choose to buff and nerf however you want. You can keep it as, but the idea is to help you pick one favorite one, remove/kill one, and then ignore or keep one as is because you think it's perfectly good. Let's start off. Let's start pretty easy with the trio of items that everyone always pursues every single game. Let's start off with Ginsu's Rageblade, Spear of Shojin, and Infinity Edge. Choose one to buff, one to nerf, and one to keep. What do you think, Dishsoap?
Okay, we're probably nerfing IE because that's the actual good item. Okay, I don't actually think it needs to be nerfed, but I think it's the best out of these 3. And they've kind of just made this item like necessary on a lot of units for a while, unless you like high roll Jewel Lotus or something.
Sure.
I mean, Rageblade and Shojin, it's like the same thing to me. I don't think any of them like deserve a nerf, but I think Rageblade is worse than Shojin, so I guess I'll say, oh no, I'm nerfing IE. I guess we're buffing.
You would buff.
Yeah, I guess we're buffing Rageblade.
If you were to buff Rageblade, what would you even do?
Okay, honestly, I guess we're buffing Shojin because I mean, honestly, if Rageblade like actually gets buffed, it's like it might just be too obnoxious. And like Shojin, like it's kind of hard to be that obnoxious. I remember in set 10 they took like 5 like AP off of Shojin,
yeah.
and like honestly, you could bring that back and it doesn't change that much. Like it would just make Shojin holders better. But I mean, I don't think you have to change these 2 items, but I guess I would probably buff. I would buff Shojin, nerf IE, and keep Rageblade, even though I'm not sure if we need to be doing that.
I mean, I think that's going to be a lot of the theme of it. Don't worry. Anyone who's from Riot listening to this, that's not actually what we want. It's just more to put things that are closely related together and compare and contrast them. Okay, that's a pretty good one. Okay, second group, we're going to go augment here. Let's go AFK, BRB, and delayed start. So everything that's kind of like you have to take your hands off, but you get like a big powerful spike for it. Buff, nerf, and keep one.
Okay, delayed start is like the best out of these by far. So we're definitely nerfing that one. I don't really know how you would nerf it though, because if it gives like 3 upgraded one claws, like I'm pretty sure that augment's terrible. But then like how else do you even change it? So like I mean I don't know, but I think that one's like the best of these 3.
Okay.
And then AFK BRB. Honestly, AFK hasn't been in the game for a while, so I don't actually know how good it is. But it's definitely a lot worse than delayed start. Um, okay, I personally have like had some like pretty bad games around BRB specifically, but
Like what went wrong?
oh,
Like
I
bad
mean,
items.
well, the thing is, it like griefs your econ intervals a lot of the time on on like stage 2. And then like if like the thing is like AFK also griefs your econ intervals, but like you get a big chunk of gold, so you make it back. Um, but BRB, like you often end up just being broke unless you're on like a portal that gives you gold, or for example, or an encounter gives you gold. Um, so I think that one is like the most awkward for me. So I guess we're buffing BRB. I don't know, maybe give it like 3 gold on start so you make the intervals early. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
I like that.
And then probably just keep AFK. I think that augment's fine.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I think delayed start could probably be like a variation of 1, 2s, 3s, like half AFK, half 1, 2s, 3s. Probably just not another fourth 2-star 1 cost.
Yeah, I think the late start, if you don't have like an insane opener already, is just like the best silver in the game. It's just so much money.
Wow, best silver in
In
the game. I've
tempo.
heard some people say that before, but
Yeah, it's
I
very
definitely
very.
have gotten okay, except the times where you get like the all backliners and you have
It's
like no
it's not
frontliners.
it's not even that bad. It's not even that.
Yeah, okay,
It's
okay.
12 gold and you kill some units.
True, true, true.
And you
You,
get to set up
you
your
should
mid
kill
game.
at least 1 or 2. Okay.
And you can set up your mid game. It's all good.
All right, the final of the threes a crowd. We're gonna do 3 of threes a crowd. This one is probably the hardest one for me. Aurora, Viego, and Zach. Buff 1, nerf 1, keep 1.
Oh, this is not that hard for me. We are nerfing this Aurora unit. Specifically Aurora 2. I think Aurora 1, I don't know, maybe you could take a little bit of damage off, but this Aurora 2 unit is I don't know who like why the damage numbers are so high on her, but like she's the biggest increase in damage from like a 1-star to a 2-star in the entire game. Um she just does a ton.
She does
And then
everything. She does everything.
you also just get the free utility. So we're definitely nerfing her. And then like between like keeping and buffing one of like Viego and Zach, I think you just keep Viego. The same. I think he's strong. I wouldn't really touch him, but he definitely doesn't need any buffs. And then Zach, like you can argue Zach doesn't need any buffs. Like if you actually get to the end game state of Zach, is like with Zach 2, 3 items, all the blobs, like some kind of augment that's works with him, he's gonna be really really strong and really annoying. But if you're not in a spot where you can like read all those blobs, he's not that good. So I would probably make his like base better somehow, or like I don't know, like
Reduce the ceiling maybe, and then like raise his floor a little bit.
yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think I would buff Zach.
Well, these are the 3 5 costs that most people are talking about how they cap all these boards these days. So you made it really simple, and it's true. Aurora 2 is just a complete powerhouse. Every time I'm looking over Aurora 2, I mean, it's partially what's keeping up so many of these compositions as well. It's a Aurora check at the end of the game.
By Texas, that tool's most played carry is Aurora.
I believe it. I believe it. Better than Annie, at least. I look over top carry Annie still for a lot of these people.
Yeah, I was one of those players that was trying to flex in the strategist days.
Nice, nice. All right, so that does it for stage 2. Let's move on to stage 3 and bring back an old favorite. It's the pop quiz. All right, pop quiz, Dishsoap. Hope you're ready for this one. This one's going to be a little bit harder than the last one.
Yeah, let's make it as hard as possible.
Make it as hard as possible. This one isn't, I think, as hard as possible, but it's pretty good. Let's start off with this first question. In 6 Boombots, who is the best Boombot emblem holder? The filter is 6 Boombot emblem, filter out the second Boombot emblem.
I believe this is actually TF. Because but you like the cap for that is actually Garen. But there's actually some like hidden tech. I don't know how hidden it is, but if you get like a Boombot start, you can actually just play TF and then play like around because he fits with like you play
Kog'Maw.
Yeah, like he fits even like the Darius you play, you can just play a Cho'Gath. He fits with Kog'Maw. The Braum you play fits with Skarner, so there's like a lot of synergy. And then you can end up playing like 4 Boombot TF. The Boombot on him will do a lot. And then ideally you hit a Garen so you can get Boombot mod on him and then pop off the Boombot spat. But I still think low key the spat on him probably like it's still average as well. So I'm gonna say TF.
Ooh, very, very close.
Okay.
Yeah, Garen is the best. If you
Oh,
actually
and
filter
because you
them.
hit the Garrett and then you move the mod. Like,
Yeah,
ah, come on.
exactly.
Okay,
It's probably because of the best case scenario there, but
can I
TF
get
was
half?
really high up there as well. It's a really good. It's a really good spot.
Can I get half credit? Or okay,
I
was
give
he
you
was
okay.
he
I
was he
give you-
second or not second?
TF
Yeah.
TF and Kabuko were basically tied at second. So because
Okay,
Kabuko
okay,
is for the fiddlesticks boards and stuff like
okay. I'm down for half credit if he's second. If he wasn't second, then you don't have to give it to me.
that. No worries. Okay. Second one here. In 7 Exotech, if I mod Garen with the Exotech mod, what is the best Exotech item to put on him?
Oh, okay. I don't.
I just want to tell you
Okay,
the filters before this because I feel like this is a new thing. So this filter is 7 Exotech, Garen, and no Exotech emblem. And I look at what Exotech emblems are good on him.
yeah. I don't know if this is the answer, but I played a game with it and he was a menace. It was I had Exotech bottom and I had IE Titans and the item I'm going to guess Hyper Fangs. It's the one that gives a bit of Omnivamp and then it gives like a damage proc or something. There's also another Exo mod that like increases the shield, which is pretty good synergy. But like I'm telling you, this Hyper Fangs Garen was a 1v9.
That is 100% correct. It actually
Oh shit.
blows out every other Exotech, and it's a good sample size. It's like 1,000 games at minus 0.5 delta. Hyperfangs, Garen, Exotech.
Yeah,
That guy, that is the truth apparently on him.
I've been a Garen enjoyer recently. I've played
Yeah, you come around. I was telling you about it in the first episode. Garen, I love Garen. He's very fun.
Like the thing is like here's the secret Garen tech. If
Okay.
you're playing if you're playing any line like Executioner, Slayer, Divinicore, Exotech, like any of these things that like actually buff the Garen, you can just field Garen for like two. Like if you high Garen on like your stage 4 rolldown, you can field him for 2 turns, like fish for one of the like the mods that helps out the Garen, and then drop the Garen, and then you just have Garen 1 on bench, and then you save the mod until you get Garen 2, and then you like put the mod on Garen 2, and then you have him as like your cap. But that, like,
So you keep on the bench until you get to 9.
yeah, because
then
then
roll
you have,
for Garen 2 and then put him back.
yeah, and then you have your like mod that you never use the entire game.
You just leave it on the bench.
Yeah, you leave it on the bench and then you put it back in when you put Garen back in. Because a lot of times, like you want to play Garen, but you can't fit him, and then, but then like when he's 2-star, you like have to fit him, right? Like for example, in like a 7 Exotech board on your rolldown, if you don't have an emblem, you're just gonna be playing 7 Exotech and Kindred because you just need rapid fire, and Marksman's good on Jin. So like you can't play the Garen, but like on stage 4, you could probably sack a couple rounds, fish for the Exotech mod on Garen, bench him after you get the Exotech mod. And then super late game when you get Garen 2, you can Exotech mod the Garen, and then like okay, this sounds like a lot of setup, but like I promise you, it's not that hard to pull off. And then you just mod him, and then you get Hyperfangs Garen, and then you win the game.
One thing that you're not pointing out, Dishsoap, is the privilege that you have for playing stage 2 and stage 3 well and having the HP where that's not that big of a deal. For a lot of these Zeri players, I just feel like even those 2 rounds can be a really profound deal. You're gonna have a lot of people taking bad losses because they're like, "Oh, Dishsoap said to play Garen here," and then they just take like 5-0, 6-0, and then they lose 25 HP.
I mean, you don't have to do this whole convoluted tech. I'm just saying, Garen 2, 3 items with a mod that like fits out your team is very, very strong, and I think not a lot of people are, at least in my games, have been utilizing it.
Fair enough. Okay, filtering out Hollow Bow. This is another Exotech question. Oh, sorry, filtering only for Hollow Bow. Who is the best holder in all Exotech units? So basically, I looked at Hollow Bow. Only 1 unit has anything near a positive delta holding Hollow Bow in Exotech. Who is it?
Is it like, I mean, the item is literally designed for Varus, but the thing is, you're not. I don't really think you're even when you have Hollow Bow, you're even supposed to be itemizing Varus, just because you can't. It's hard to fit Executioner, and then he just doesn't do that much in the Exotech comp. So I'm pretty sure it's like Jin with IE.
That is correct. Jin is the #1 holder of Hollow Bow, and everyone else is positive delta either by a little or by like a lot. And Varus is actually by a pretty significant margin.
Yeah, I mean the item is like technically not bad on Varus if you have Executioner in, but the problem is you're playing like when you're playing 7 Exotech, you just can't fit Executioner. Even when you have an emblem, like you would rather just play like a Viego for Techie than Executioner. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's well said. It's just not worth it a lot of times. I think they're gonna have to pretty much just buff Hollow Bone, otherwise it's not gonna be played.
I think it's getting giga buffed on PvE last time I
Is
looked.
it? Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah, that's right. Next week we'll probably talk about the actual patch because right now we're just talking about retroactively. All right. Question number 4. You're doing well so far. In 4 marksman, what is Aphelios's best artifact?
Oh,
Like, what's the best artifact to play on Aphelios when you're playing 4 marksman builds?
that is very interesting. I will go to TFTAcademy.com to look at the list of artifacts. I feel like the answer is like probably something random. Collector doesn't have that good stats, even though it like probably like the only time you're playing is probably Collector. Sniper's Focus, like maybe you can like one shot the backline, but not really, man. I don't think it's Mana Zane. Was it like something like Trickster? No, the second affiliate is. I'm pretty sure if you have Trickster, you're trickstering the Zaya.
I for what it's worth, I try to filter it so it at least has 1,000 game sample size.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's probably Snipers then, I guess. I don't know. Because I'm pretty sure Fishbones wants to put on the Zaya, not the Aphelios as well. So
All right,
I'll guess
locking it
Sniper's
in.
Focus. Yeah, sure.
That is correct. Sniper's Focus Aphelios. It's Sniper's Focus number 1, and then Gold Collector at a distant second, and then pretty much nothing else. You don't actually want to put anything else on Aphelios.
Yeah, I don't even know if Sniper's even that good on him, but I just don't think he's a very good artifact holder.
He's not. I do think it was interesting that it seemed to be the only one that performed pretty well on him. All right. And then finally, filtering out Cypher, because there is a Cypher cash out that gives you a 4-star variation of I. What is currently the best performing 1-cost 4-star in AVP and just general stats?
We'll just guess a comp that like performs well in the stats. Oh, is it like is Shaco good in the stats? I don't. I mean, let's just guess Shaco because 4-star melee scaling is pretty good. I don't know.
4-star scaling is pretty good.
Yeah.
Shaco is 3rd.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good
whatever.
guess. Number 1 is Seraphine. Seraphine is.
Oh, okay. You're not gonna believe it. I was about to guess her because of Anima Squad, but
Oh, okay, got it. It goes
yeah.
Seraphine and then Zyra, Shaco are basically second, but it's a pretty big gap.
Yeah.
And for this version, if you ever, well, yeah, there's a pretty big gap. Shaco and Zyra, and then Dr. Mundo is number 4. I thought was pretty interesting.
I played a game of Moonlight Seraphine. It's pretty similar to like the old Moonlight Zyra. I guess the Zyra exists in this set, but it's not the same. Like Seraphine's definitely the better one of that, and it was okay, I guess. I think I went 5th, but I think my board sucked. But the Seraphine was pretty good.
Not too bad. All right, pretty solid pop quiz. Dishsoap 3 out of 5, actually 3.5 out of 5. So pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and go to our last big section of today's episode, and it's a new one we're calling Crash Course. So in Crash Course, we got a lot of feedback from people about how to play comps. We've spent basically the past year of this podcast covering a lot of fundamental topics, and we've done a really good job doing it. But I think people also want a little bit more guidance on how to walk through certain comps. So I figured we can take each episode to do a quick crash course, if you will, on how to play a comp more in depth and tackle things like augments, items, openers, positioning tips, so on and so forth. So the first one I think we should start off with that a lot of people ask questions about because they struggle with it personally since it's a new set is the cash out mechanic, Cypher. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Cypher cash out. So I think this one, the first question I wrote down, which is pretty easy, which is what is a good opener for Cypher cash out? So what do you think is a good opener for Cypher cash out?
Well, as the name implies, there is the trait Cypher, and you definitely want Cypher in early. I don't really think you're gonna be playing a comp like that keeps Cypher in if you don't have the Cypher early, like the board we have here. The thing about Cypher is, you don't have to play like the Zed Draven board. This is certainly the easiest thing you can do, just because you get to keep the units and stuff. But many players have found success just pivoting into other stuff based on like their items. But obviously, that's going to be a little harder to do. But the thing is, in order to play like the Draven Galio stuff, it does kind of require a bigger cash out. And for bigger cash outs, you need the like Cypher on like stage 2, like probably like 2-3 at the latest if you like really want to play it. But if you like want to take Cypher for like some extra resources or econ, and then pivot it to something else. You can easily fit it on stage 3 as well.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, one thing that we wrote in our guide, right, the way people were playing Cypher on the previous patch, and this is going to be applicable to future patches as well, is you can pretty much just sell the Cypher and fast 9 and use that extra gold and resources, especially if you get other things like duplicators and other things that like synergize really well with 5 cost. You can just pretty much use this as a fourth augment, like a huge amount of resources, like a prismatic fourth augment. And the trade-off is your HP. And so people did this while open forwarding for strategist Annie specifically in the previous patch. This might, like, let's say they somehow buff Misfortune Fast 9. This would be the exact same thing that you would take approach-wise.
The thing is, I mean, like this is like very very advanced, but you don't even like have to fast 9. You could basically play any comp. Like I see a very common line right now on Hilo is doing Cypher into Rengar just because Rengar is just broken.
Sure, and you can get artifacts for Rengar
yeah,
too.
Yeah, and you get artifacts. You often, most of the time with Cypher, you're cashing out like 4-1 if you got it early, just because that's like you don't have any HP to do any further on. So, and then 4-1 is the perfect time to like do 3-cost reroll. That's why like Galio Draven also kind of works as well. So yeah, I mean 3-cost reroll, fast 9, level 8 comps, if you have a good spot for them, and it's just basically free resources.
All right. I have another question to kick off the beginning here. When is the latest you're willing to play Cypher to start a cash out?
Probably like 3-2.
3-2. Okay.
Yeah, I
By
mean,
the second augment.
I mean, if you're like already lose streaking, it's basically just like free money. If you're like not, if you're not, okay. So the interesting thing about Cypher that is unique from all other loss streak traits in the past is that it like takes into the account your like actual like lose streak number. So if you're on a 6 loss, you will be gaining more because you're on a 6 loss, not because you've like lost 6 with Cypher in. It's like based on your actual loss streak, not like the amount of losses.
Not like Chem Baron, which
yeah.
you had to have just been on a loss streak in general.
Yeah. And it's not like like Fortune or Mercs or whatever where you have to like lose with the exact trade in order to like charge up the bonuses more. I mean, you kind of do. You get a flat bonus per loss, but then there's also like bonuses per kill and bonuses per like your actual streak. So if you've like already like lost like 4 or something rounds into the mid game on like 3-2 or something, you're gonna be getting more than if you just lost the last round. And pivoting, and so that's like something you want to keep track of. Sure.
Let's take a look at the tables of the possible cash outs. What are the intervals that you care the most about for some of the cash outs here on Cypher?
I'm not going to be very helpful here, but I don't really look at these intervals. Like I'm not really thinking about intervals yet.
Okay. So you're not there yet.
I think it is just completely fine to like play for your like just maximum. And just keep it in until you get the cash out. I know there's this one interval, this 331. Half of the time you just get like basically a bunch of useless gold. You get units, but like most of the time you're gonna sell the units. Ideally you're getting the 2 TGs or the 4 components. Like those are really good cash outs. But I've seen people advocate for not getting 330 and trying to get the 290 because Masterworks and Radiance and duplicators can be and like artifacts can be a little bit more useful sometimes.
Yeah. Actually, there's a little trick that I found out, and I found this out. Shout out to LeDuc, is that you can actually take out Cypher, and then you'll still be offered to trade in your intel the next round if it's an interval coming up. So, for example, I was at this exact situation where I didn't want 330, and 330 was all I could play for because I only had one more round I was going to lose at the end of stage 3, and so I actually took out Cypher and only played 2 while keeping going, and I got a 290 cash out. It was still the duplicator, which I didn't want. I wanted any of the other ones. I think this was significantly worse than the other 3, but that's something you can do. It's really interesting. I've seen people manipulate that for a 225, and they got an artifact and they pivoted into Rengar, and they did a really good job with the execution of Rengar, and that person ended first. So you can definitely start it later. It's almost like not even bad to start it later because getting like a 225 is actually pretty good because sometimes. I'm just saying, I think they need to probably relook at some of these tables. There are some really troll cash outs if you ever take a time to look through some of them. Some of them are just like, what are they cooking, man?
Yeah, personally, like I'm fine with some of the cash outs being like weaker than like you would think, like weaker than insta win. But I kind of dislike some of them being insta win, and then some of them just being trash, and like it's just random, and then you like lose the game immediately if that happens to you. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't really think that's good, like balancing in game design, but I mean I don't know, maybe it is. Not really, I don't know. But
There's that
yeah.
4-star vibe we talked about. I've seen people to cash us out and lose immediately afterwards as well. So there's some troll ones for sure. I mean, it's not that it's I've seen people also win with it as well. It's
Yep.
just be mindful. There are some situations you'd be like, wow, this is not what I need at all. And you just have to accept it because you gotta take that. Okay. What are the item priority? Like what's the first 2 to 3 items you care about for this composition?
Well, if you're playing like the Zed Draven version, which I think is just the easiest to execute, just because you don't have to do any pivots, or don't have to do any big pivots, you're still going to be like pivoting a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about this one specifically.
Yeah. So you see, we have IE on Draven and Zed, so that's gonna tell you that like IE is gonna be really important. It's the best it's a best item for both of these units because their spells you need to have IE for them to crit. So very often you're just gonna be going for like swords and gloves to get the 2 IEs because ideally with Cypher cash out you're gonna have enough items to be able to itemize both of them, or like get a bunch of gold to like 3-star them or something. So yeah, we're definitely gonna be trying to get IE, and then after that, just make like offensive healing / like just more items for Draven and Zed, just whatever like comes naturally to you. And then you're also just gonna be trying to get the standard, like the anti-heal, the utility, armor shred, whatever.
Yeah, and you can even have, like red buff on Draven, for example. You don't have to like always default to Sunfire. And also we have wrote in a couple of instances where it depends on what ends up happening in the game. Sometimes you're stuck rolling on 8 for a long time to stabilize. You might have Senna also as like a duo carry because maybe Zed's contested, maybe you have no swords, you have all bows. You got to think about something to do. So this is one of the more interesting compositions to think about. A lot of extensions on how you actually want to play the Cypher cash out, but it's always oriented around Draven as the primary. Think of Zed as the other duo mainly because Cypher gives you a cash out of actual power. So you get a bunch of AD and AP for Zed. But if you have like a good exotech item for Zeri, a bunch of bows, maybe Zeri holds the flux capacitor and you get Zeri 2. She duos with Draven. Maybe you can't hit either, super contested. Center 3, you hit the Renekton. Really good combination to help do like a sum of its parts composition in order to get that first.
Yep. I would say like try to itemize like 3 out of 5 of these carries between the Renekton, Draven, Senna, Zed, Zeri, in any given game, and then either make Galio 3 or Sejuani 2 your tank.
Yep. All right. And then lastly, let's wrap this up with just some augment ideas. So I wrote a few down in our guide, but we don't have to go through all of them. I mean, some of them are pretty obvious. HP, so Titanic Titan just gives you a bunch more HP. Same thing with Tiniest Titan. There's also some pretty infamous combos like Cypher with Last Stand, just pretty obnoxious, just like a crazy Exodia comp. One thing that I saw China doing was Young, Wild, and Free. So that way they could guarantee pick the Cypher unit in stage 2 to start their Cypher cash out. So if they start with a Draven or a Galio or even a LeBlanc, they immediately take Young, Wild, and Free and try to get that Cypher by 2-5.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty solid. It gets like 5 gold, makes your intervals early, and then there's no 3-cost Cypher on Carousel, right? You're never gonna get griefed.
Yeah, fair enough. Anything else that you feel like good? Actually, you've played a good amount of Hostile Takeover.
Yeah, I might have the most games of this on the server. I think I have like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah. Is there any tricks with that, or is that just like a standard win streak game?
Okay, mostly it just ends up being a standard win streak game. But I mean, I don't know if this is a trick. I'm pretty sure it's just noob baiting, but I played it with Nitro a couple times because Shyvana gives Bastion and then Kindred gives Rapid Fire. But the thing is, you have to hit Cypher. You have to hit Cypher and you have to get Nitro in early, so you're not even getting any Cypher stacks on stage 2, and then you have to like basically hit everything on like 3-2, or like 3-1. You're probably leveling on 3-1.
Okay.
And then you play 3 Cypher, 3 Nitro on 3-1, and then get like double scaling. But
wow, okay. And then you pivot out. Do you pivot out of Cypher in that situation?
Oh no, you just keep both because it just fits.
Oh, you're just playing Cypher Nitro the entire game.
Yeah. I went 1-1 with it. But, like both times it was it was just fake spots, man. Like you have to believe me. Like I think I had like 5 Dravens on 3-2.
All right, all right. Okay.
But I don't know. I think if you have I've taken this even without like Cypher on 2-1 just with like IE. I think Draven 1 can actually carry a decent amount on stage 2 with like a frontliner. And
Okay.
then you just hope to hit the Cypher on like after first carousel.
Oh,
But
I
honestly,
believe it. I believe it. I've accidentally won many times with Draven because I position normally and I'm like it's 3-on-3, but I'm playing 3 Cypher. There's no way I win.
yeah.
And then Draven actually just kills everything. I'm like, whoa, okay, never mind.
But yeah, I mean, I've hit Cypher at like 3-1, like with hostile takeover and still top forward. So
Okay.
I don't know. I just
Like the
wins.
first time you activated was 3-1.
Yep.
Damn. Okay. All right. I need to be trying that a little bit more often. We'll see.
I think it does like just fit my playstyle though with like the win streak stuff. So
Right. It's just the new baiting thing. It's like the
yeah.
Garen in stage 4. Yeah, just sack 2 rounds, man, for Garen. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. I've had lots of success with it though.
All right. So that was our first crash course. We'll probably iterate on it more. Especially, I think we picked a little bit of a tricky one. Maybe next week we'll do an easy. We'll do Anima Squad next week. Anima Squad is super easy. We'll see. We'll see if it's in meta though. Maybe depending on the patch.
Yeah, I think this might be the hardest comp.
Yeah, but it's one that everyone asked the most questions about.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll revisit it once we figure it out. In the meantime, let's wrap this up with our last stage 5, question of the day. And we got one from S4F, who asks, what are the frontline items that are best early game slams for you this set, Dishsoap?
Honestly, like frontline items, I don't really like hold any of them at a premium. The classic is like stuff like Stoneplate's going to be valuable early because you're never going to get punished for solo frontline. So like if you have a good backliner and like killing Cloak and Chain usually don't matter that much. Like selling Stoneplate's probably fine. Same thing like with Sunfire, kind of. I get a little bit apprehensive to like make Sunfire on like stage 3, but it probably won't like throw the game if you do it. But like on like 2-1, it's always like fine to make / good. Those are just like the standard though, but I think like the more valuable frontline items this set are stuff like Vow. I think Vow is very, very good, but it's usually not something you want to be making on like stage 2, because typically if you get dropped like a tier opener, you're most likely playing towards like AP lines just because like tier is so important for AP. But for some reason, if you have really, really strong direction towards AD and you have like a full Vow, yeah, just make it. It's gonna be really, really good late game for your Leona and Sedge is the main beneficiaries. But honestly, with these tank items, it's just you build them as you get them. I don't really think there's any that have like super high prio with the set, I would say.
Okay, interesting. I did notice that more people seem to be jamming Even Shroud than in previous sets, because previous sets it was more about Last Whisper. Is there anything to do? Does that have anything to do with the relationship of Frontline this set?
I don't necessarily think it's like a frontline thing. It's mostly just the AD units this set are not like amazing appliers of Last Whisper. You're thinking about like Zeri, which is just pure single target and kind of needs like very specific builds. You could make Last Whisper for sure with like Marksman Vanguard, but that's not really a meta. Zai is not really a good holder, but Aphelios kind of is. So like if Aphelios Zai is back in meta, I'm sure you'll see some more Last Whispers. And then what else? There's
Misfortune.
Yeah, there's Misfortune, but like I mean, you definitely can make Last Whisper on her. It synergies with IE, but if you're like making her like your primary carry, you might want like full damage and go Even Shroud.
Yeah. So and also it just feels like in this meta right now, or at least in the way the set is, it feels like a lot of people are playing for big cap. And sometimes it just pays to have just a pure damage item for your third item on your carry in these crazy, like everybody has hacked orb and tons of resource situations. Instead of a Last Whisper, I could put a Deathblade. It's like that's a way higher DPS increase. So that's some things to just consider, but obviously that's not every game, because I actually, it's a trap that I've been falling into where I keep thinking so much about end game cap, and sometimes it's just like a standard gold tier augment and nothing happens, and then it just fakes you out completely. So just play standard and just adapt to whatever the items are dropping.
100% agree.
All right, so there you go. End of our first new revamped episode. 45 minutes, pretty quick, jam-packed stuff. How you feeling, Dishsoap? You like the new format?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's pretty good. Yeah, short and sweet, I guess.
Short and sweet. So we'll be back. In fact, tomorrow, at the time of this recording, it's actually the night before I think we announced the next patch. Dog and Riot are going to announce it. But we'll be back next week to cover it after a few days. And we'll also see who is going to be qualified for the first set of cups. It's coming up pretty soon. Competitive season is just getting started. A big thank you to all of our people who support TFT Academy through Patreon. That question was from S4F, one of our Prismatic tier supporters. It's one of the best ways you can support the website because, as you can see, we're trying to roll out a bunch of stuff. And that new guides page that we showed you for TFT Academy, so we're actually trying to do a creator program in the future to encourage more people to create content, not just me and you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited for that. Yeah, people can instead of posting on like Twitter or Reddit, they can post on TFT Academy and get paid.
That's
Very
right.
cool.
That's right. A lot of people, they're posting it for the clout, but they're not really getting much else. We want to offer you the opportunity to post it for the visibility as well as to get paid. So that's going to be coming soon, later this year. It depends on our tech. We honestly, it depends on how fast we can get it online, but that'll be coming soon. So make sure to check it out, tftacademy.com/guides. Thanks for watching this episode of TFT Study Hall. It's been Frodan and Dishsoap. See you guys next time.
See ya.